We sat on my roof. We talked about this epic bicycle journey that I can't even believe it. So join in, you guys, for a great podcast about a fucking great ride. Ari Shaffir, Skeptic Tank, episode 363, On a Steel Horse I Ride. Hum of the Earth YouTube channel. Go check them out. Starts now.
But with this trip, Latin America, like 90% of the countries speak Spanish.
So it's all the same.
Yeah.
That is the problem in Asia. It's like everyone is a completely different language. There's some like slight overlap between, I think, Cambodian and like maybe Burmese or maybe Thai. I forget now. But like, yeah, almost all. It's like a new language every time.
And they're not easy, I hear.
Yeah, so Spanish, that's pretty... No, they're not. Because all the symbols are different. At least Spanish, you get the symbols that are the same.
And I speak French, so it's actually a pretty easy crossover because just the grammar of it is very similar. Like, I actually cheat sometimes. If I don't know the word, I'll just say the word in French. And if it's feminine, I'll add an A. Or if it's masculine, I'll just add an O. And it actually works, like, a lot of the time.
Oh, wow. Oh, they teach you French because they teach everybody French, huh?
Yeah, well, my mom side of the family was French, so I just got both as a package deal when I was born.
Dude, that's such a weird thing about Canada, how you're fucking half of that, not half of that, what, like a quarter of the province is like super into French.
Yeah, and I'm not even like living in Quebec. I'm in Ontario, which most people would not think there's any French speakers in Ontario, but there are some.
Yeah. So you just like, fuck it, I want to go bike for days and days and days? From out of nowhere? Out of barely any biking?
So, yeah, so like I said, there was different stages. So the first stage was just the idea of the trip in Latin America, and my initial thought was I would do it with my car. I had a car at the time.
Yeah.
So I was planning around that, and then maybe a few, like 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks before I was planning to leave, like I'd already given my resignation on my job and everything, just the idea of bicycle touring just like presented itself, and I'd maybe heard of it, but it was never really like a thing in my head. And then I just saw it, and it just kind of clicked like right away because I loved bicycling.
Where'd you see it?
I think it was online. I was just looking at travel videos, and I think I just stumbled upon someone who was traveling on the bicycle. And it was one of the things, like, I knew that with a car, like, you go so fast and you have to keep your eyes on the road that there's a lot just whizzing by that you're not going to see, hear, or smell.
True. Yeah, one of the best parts about traveling that I've done is getting on scooters, because you really can, like, take any side road. Doesn't really matter. You can get off and get right back on real fast and easy. And a bicycle must be, I guess, pretty similar.
Even more so, because if you want to do camping, which I did quite a bit of on the trip, like you can go like in the forest, like deep, where there's like a big density of trees, something you would never be able to do with a car.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and you can't really do that with a scooter either. You can't really get to. You can be like hard packed.
I mean, you could, but you'd have to be pretty strong. We
did it once in Thailand. We were going up this mountain, and me and my friend Pete, and then we just saw this kind of path, and it was dirt, and we're like, fuck it, let's take it. But it had to be wide enough for us to take. You couldn't really go in and out of trees.
Yeah.
So you just got, okay, so how old are you now?
26.
26. So you just got at 25, you just like, did you buy a new bike, or how did you do it?
Yeah, just a brand new bicycle. Like, I'm pretty frugal, so at first I was looking at like used bikes and like, oh, I could change this and change this. But then I just kind of realized that it would be breaking down all the time. So I just looked online for like the kind of best value for a proper touring bicycle. Which the only difference between like this bike and a road bike is that it's made of steel, so it's meant to carry more weight. It absorbs shocks from the road better without needing suspension, which would be bad if you're touring, because then you're just wasting energy with the suspension.
Up and down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then go bike for a while and then go take another flight or bus or something.
Yeah, I've definitely had some adventures. I mean, I didn't take that many flights, but mostly to come back to Canada.
Yeah.
And definitely some stressful moments relating to bicycles and the airport and stuff like that. But I think I've gotten the hang of it now, but it was a learning curve.
Do the airlines or the airports, are they like, no, you can't take that on here?
Well, yeah, so the second time I did it, which was from El Calafate in Argentina to Buenos Aires, their website was pretty vague. It was in English, but it didn't mention anything that it needed to be in a box. It just listed a bunch of things. Like, okay, I did these things, and I was looking for a box in that town, but it was just a small town, so I couldn't find anything. And I show up at the airport, really early as I can. I'm the first one when they open the thing. And the lady just looks at me. She says, no, you're not coming on.
Really?
And I was like, okay, well, what do I do? She's like, no. But then I pleaded with her for a while. She's like, okay, well, if you can wrap it up and protect all of the sharp parts, then maybe I'll let you on. So I'm like running through the airport looking for boxes and tape. And then like I was running out of tape, and then this Good Samaritan out of nowhere just comes and hands me tape.
Really? And you saw what you were doing?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I just barely made it on the flight.
I love how they're like, no. And they're like, please? You're like, all right. Like, these aren't real rules. I just don't feel like it. So where'd you leave from? You left from near Ottawa?
Yeah. Well, because I live fairly close to the border, on my first day, my parents drove me to the border. And it was almost a false start because I barely got into the U.S. on my first day.
Oh, no.
Because I was at the border, and I think the people there had never seen someone bicycle touring.
Yeah.
So everything I was saying about what I was doing, they were just like, okay.
They always assume it's like drugs or arms smuggling.
Yeah, they definitely checked all my stuff. And I made a few errors because it was my first like border crossing alone.
Yeah.
And, they were asking me, for a specific itinerary. Obviously, when you're bicycle touring, you don't really have that.
You don't have one. That's the worst thing when you're like, when are you leaving? I'm like, I'm not sure yet. Like, what do you mean you don't know? I'm like, I don't know. I don't. They're like, you have to leave in 30 days. You're like, yeah, I know. And I'll leave at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, they asked, a lot of times they won't let you in a flight if you don't have your outbound flight. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, can't you just take a bus to the next, country?
Yeah,
like,
it's pretty stupid.
Yeah. Somebody told me what you're supposed to do is, I'll get back to what they asked you in a second, but what you're supposed to do is just Photoshop a outbound itinerary. Just see what it's like. It's all words anyway, so you just white that out and write in, a new date. Make a flight and then cancel it, but print it up first.
Yeah, I ended up doing that once, but it was actually kind of a lot of work. And what I did after that was just buying a refundable ticket on Expedia.com, and it was pretty easy.
And then you showed them that?
Yeah.
The refundable?
Yeah, well, I bought the ticket the same day.
Yeah.
You show them the ticket, you get on your flight, and as soon as you have Wi-Fi, you just cancel it right away, and you don't pay anything.
Yeah. Nobody told me that. So that was the trick you learned?
Yeah. For flights, but usually in Latin America for land crossings, technically you're supposed to have it, and that was the first time that I fudged one, like you said, but they never asked for it if you're bicycle touring.
The weird thing is clearly I'm coming in not on a flight, so it's like I'm probably going to leave on this device. So why do I need? If it's what are the visas there? 30 days or
it varies. They're usually very generous. It's usually 3 months.
Oh.
Some of them were only a month, like Bolivia and stuff like that.
That's cool. Yeah, and then it's like I'll be gone when I'm gone. I don't know what to tell you. So you passed the American border. Where'd you cross over?
So I don't even think there's really a town right there, but it's where there's Indian reserves on the Ontario side. It's called Cornwall. And I think the closest, biggest town is Malone on the New York State side. And so they eventually let me pass after I showed them my bank account and that I had money. But without that, I wasn't getting through.
Really?
Because I made another mistake. They asked me, how much money do you have on you? She said, on you. And I said, $80 on my credit cards. Then right away, she walkie-talkied.
Because you have to have cash on you?
Well, no, just because I think she interpreted that I only had $80 to my name, and I'm going to put the rest on credit.
Yeah, but so what? Oh, you mean credit like you don't have it yet.
Going into debt after my $80.
What they're most afraid of is you not leaving.
Yeah. But, I mean, I'm coming from Canada. I'm not coming from, some third world country, but I guess they thought I wanted to live here, and I was bringing all my stuff.
So, what did your parents say when you told them you wanted to do this?
At first, they were really supportive because my parents met in university, and in university, they went on a bicycle tour in Europe, and they really enjoyed it. So they were like, "Go for it! It's a great idea." But I could kind of tell they were like, "Okay, so you're going to go through the U.S." But I had said multiple times, I'm going to Argentina. So they're like, "Okay, so you're going to go through the U.S. and then you'll come back." I was like, "No." And then I was getting closer to Mexico. They're like, "You're coming back, right?" I'm like, "No, I already told you what I'm doing." But I guess they didn't believe me. And they started getting more and more kind of nervous as I was getting close to Mexico. But I'd done my research, and I mean, obviously, if you read the travel advisories, they're really hyperbolic. But it's because Sorry?
What do you mean by that?
Well, the travel advisories will say, like, okay, in Mexico, we recommend to not go there unless you're going to like specific like resort towns and stuff like that, because you might get kidnapped, murdered, and they list all this stuff. But I have a feeling that there's like one case of kidnapping, and they'll say that there's a chance of kidnapping, out of the millions of people who go there.
That's what it is, always. I went to Brazil once, to Rio, with the UFC. They flew Joe Rogan out there, and so I got a free ticket, and there were all these like, don't do it, they'll kidnap you, they'll do this, and I was like super scared for a few hours, and then I was like looking outside. The hotel they put us up was great. It was like the beach, you could see the beach, and you just see all these people playing at the beach, at the fucking Brazilian beach, and I'm like, what am I in this hotel for? You guys, I get it, the odds are a little higher, but fucking calm down. Were you nervous when you were going in there?
Yes,
because of that.
And only because I kind of made a mistake, even though I was confident in my research and I had read tons of accounts of people traveling to Mexico, and there was very little negative. The night before crossing the border, I was in Laredo, and I figured, well, why not ask like a few people,
a few racist Texans,
like if they have any tips, because they live on the border, so maybe there's some updates that they can give me on how things are. Mm-hmm. And you right away when you tell them that you're going into Mexico, they just look at you like wide-eyed, like, why? Why would you go there? They're like, you're gonna die. Like, maybe you'll be lucky and survive, but no, you're gonna die.
Those people also are like, no, they come here. We don't go there. What are you doing? Yeah. Oh
so I asked a few more people, and all the same response, including a fire chief, because I was staying at a lot of fire stations in the U.S., and I was like, oh, well, a fire chief, this is probably like a reasonable person. And he was like, even more like, have you seen what's going on there? Like, they don't just kill you, like, they torture you and behead you. And he was saying, like, all this stuff. So I was like, okay, well, I was starting to get a little bit nervous. And the next day I crossed into Mexico in the border town, Nuevo Laredo, where the fire chief had told me, oh, this is a lawless town. Like, you do not want to be there. And I'm bicycling through, and I'm still kind of scared. And then all of a sudden, my tire starts to rub against my wheel and I can't pedal anymore, so I'm like literally stuck here. I'm like sweating, I'm looking around, people are starting to approach me, and I'm just like, oh god. And I had made it like almost all the way through the town at this point, and I asked someone like, where's the bike shop, and it was like all the way at the other end of town.
Oh shit.
But I walked through with the bike, and everything was fine. I mean, it's moms bringing their girls to school, just everyone's like just hanging out, laughing, telling jokes. I don't see any problem. I didn't see any police, I think, but so maybe it is lawless, but people were chill.
Maybe it's what's it called? Controlled drug cartels.
Oh yeah, the cartels. Yeah.
Sorry. Wait, how you stayed in fire stations? They let you stay there?
Quite a bit in the U.S. Yeah.
Is that a normal thing?
For cycle tourists, it's fairly common. It's especially if you have like a decent story, like for me, like I'm going a big distance, so when you tell them what they're doing, like at least there'll be like someone that's pretty interested, like, oh yeah, that's pretty, yeah, come in, and you're kind of trading, I guess, stories for accommodations. At first you just ask to camp outside. They're like, okay, yeah, you can camp in the back, but then they want to talk to you, so like, no, come in, you can sleep inside.
Really? And what is it, a big dorm?
It varies. Actually, the first time that it happened, I wasn't planning on doing it. I had just gotten a flat, and I just walked to a fire station asking for help because I had actually never fixed a flat at that point.
Jeez, you did, all right. You're a novice, yeah.
Yeah, it looked like I had a video on YouTube, but it just wasn't working. It turned out my inner tube was the wrong size. And yeah, so that was like a brand new station. I had my own room. They were cooking dinner. They invited me to dinner. Even like breakfast in the morning, we watched like TV.
Where was this?
This was in the very like southern of Florida, like right along the border with Alabama.
Okay, that was the first one you stayed in?
There's like the bay there, Mexico Bay, I think it's called.
Wait, which path did you take? Did you go down there? How did you go down? You went
through the U.S.?
From Ontario. Yeah, but Florida and then to Texas?
Yeah, I went through the Adirondacks.
Yeah.
And then the Blue Ridge Parkway, which was all amazing because it was the fall, so it was like...
Blue Ridge Mountains, like North Carolina stuff? Yeah, those are great. It's really beautiful.
Amazing. And then I went to Atlanta, Birmingham, south through Alabama, and then I got I'm blanking on the name, but you know the bay there where like Texas, Mississippi, they all kind of touch it.
Yeah.
And I just kind of went through there, went to New Orleans, had a good time there.
Why didn't you go more straight down through Texas?
Well, it was just kind of a mix of a kind of somewhat beeline because I had started a bit late. I started in October, so I had to go fast to not because the winter was coming. And also just in terms of things I wanted to see. So it was kind of a mix of efficiency and things I was interested in.
Yeah. How long would you go every day?
So when I first started, I was doing like 30 kilometers per day. Yeah. And I thought that was a lot. But then, and again, this kind of speaks to the lack of planning I did. And then I did, like, one night I was in my tent, and I just put in, like, the coordinates for where I am now to Mexico. And then I realized that I need to be doing, like, way, way more kilometers per day. Like, I wasn't even close.
30 is nothing.
Yeah, I needed to be doing, like, at least, like, 80. And I was like, oh, my God, like... But eventually, like, just every day you do a little bit more, and by the end of my trip, I mean, I was doing I think one day I did 165 kilometers, and not flat, like, you know, with significant elevation changes in mountains and stuff like that.
How far do they go in the Tour de France every day? I mean, granted, they're going a lot faster.
Yeah, probably. I would say
all their stuff in their back.
Yeah, I don't know, but probably like 200 kilometers at least.
Jeez. So, okay, there's a lot of questions. So, you went in, would you stop and, like, look at shit? Were you planning it like an itinerary? Like, I want to see, you know, fucking whatever, Mount Rushmore or, like, things like that? Or were you just going to get there? Like, how'd you do it?
Yeah, so I had kind of a vague itinerary of, like, kind of big spots that I wanted to go to, and it made somewhat of a line, although in Mexico I did zigzag a lot just because Mexico, there's so much to see. And then on the way, just talking to people, I would just hear of different things, talking to other travelers at first, just because my Spanish wasn't that great initially in Mexico. And yeah, just kind of a mix of a bit of research and just talking to people. And like in Mexico, sometimes you'll just be bicycling, you'll just see a sign for ruins right here, and you'd never heard of it. Like, why not? And then one time I went, and they were amazing. Like, it was like in the jungle. It was in the state of Chiapas, which is in southern Mexico. And it was like a movie. It was like Tomb Raider or something. I was going up these hills, and it was all jungly, and all these ruins, and there was just nobody there. And I never heard of them, you know?
Where was it?
It was near a town called Comitán.
Damn.
In Chiapas.
What was it called? What were the ruins called?
I think they were also called Comitán.
Damn, that's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Did you know? No one told you about him? You just like...
No.
Wow. That's the fucking best way to find something.
Yeah.
Did you look it up later?
No, I did not. But I did make a video of it that's on my channel.
What's your channel called?
Hum of the Earth.
Hum?
Yeah.
H-U-M?
That's right.
Why?
Yeah, that's up to you, man. You gotta...
What?
It has different meanings. It's